I honestly don't know how many people can relate to this, but when I was a teenager, I honestly couldn't wait to get to my 20s. Like, I was so excited. The thought of being grown, having your own life, your own money, your own thing going on. Oh my God, it was just so good. You know that feeling where it feels like you're already imagining that everything is going to fall into place, right? Yeah, I had a lot of those thoughts in my head. But let me just say this. Your 20s will humble you. Like, nobody prepared me for how confusing this season would be. One moment it feels like you're so sure of yourself, and the next thing, life just hits you with a big surprise, and suddenly things are not working out the way you had imagined, right? Jobs are not really working out the way you had hoped that they would work out. Friendships are changing, the money never feels enough, and you just lie on your bed like, God, what is really going on? You know? And sometimes you go online and it feels like everyone is like 10 steps ahead of you. You know, they're getting their dream job, traveling, doing this and that. You know, it just feels like they figured out their life. But guess what? You're not the only one, because we're still all figuring it out one step at a time. Trust me, nobody has it all figured out. Okay? And which is why I'm making this video today, because the lessons I have learned in my 20s so far, trust me, nobody warned me. But I just want to share some of the hardest lessons that have shaped me, like the real stuff that no one really talks about. So hi guys, if this is your first time here, I'm Ami, and welcome to part 3 of my Surviving Your 20s series. I know it took me a little while to bring out this one. Life was just happening behind the scenes, but we are back. So in order not to waste any further time, let's get into it. Okay, let's start with this one because it really opened my eyes. One of the hardest lessons I've had to accept in my 20s is that no one can live your life for you. Yes, people can help you, your friends can support you, your family can come through for you, even God will always be there, right? But even with all of that love and support, trust me, the decisions are still yours to take. I mean, think about it. Someone can gift you money, but they cannot really decide how you spend that money, right? Your parents can pay your school fees, but they cannot really like sit in an exam hall for you. Your friends can encourage you, but they cannot pick up a pen to write down your goals for you. Even God, who is always present, He blesses the works of your hands, right? But there has to be something in your hands first. And that's the reality of being an adult. Because no matter how much support you have, life will still look at you in the face and ask, so what are we going to do about this? Like, you can outsource that part. You can cry, you can complain, you can pray. But if you don't really take that step, nothing really changes. That job you want, you have to apply for it. That business idea, you have to start working on it. That healing you crave, you have to choose to face it. And I think what makes this lesson so tough is that deep down, all of us wish that someone could just show up and say, don't worry, I'll figure it all out for you. You don't need to worry about anything. But the truth is, nobody can actually do that. Even the most loving and supportive family members or friends cannot live your life for you. They can work with you, yes, but they cannot walk in your shoes. And it's so scary because it feels like the whole weight is on you. But one thing I've also realized is that it is also freeing, because once you realize it's up to you, you stop waiting and you start moving. You stop blaming and you start building. And trust me, help will come along the way. But the first step is always yours. You know, because no one can live your life for you. Only you can. Another lesson my 20s are teaching me is that sometimes rejection is a redirection. See, there are things I used to cry over, like actual tears, begging God to fix them for me. But now when I look back, I'll just smile and say, thank God for not answering that prayer. Like, thank you for closing that door. Thank you for making sure that I did not stay in that friendship. Thank you for letting that relationship fail. Because where I am now, that thing would have held me back. So I understand. You probably didn't get the job you were so sure about, or the opportunity you felt was so perfect slipped right through your fingers. And in that moment, it felt like your whole world was crashing. And you start asking yourself, what am I doing wrong? What else am I supposed to do? Why is this thing happening to me like this? Stuff like that. Trust me, I get it. But here's something I've come to realize, and it's one of the biggest blessings in disguise. And that is, rejection is not the end. Most of the times, it is redirection. What feels like a rejection in the moment is actually God or life protecting you, shifting you, preparing you. Trust me, you can't just see the full picture yet. But with time, it clicks. Think about it. Haven't you ever looked back and been so grateful that something didn't work out? Maybe it was a school you didn't get into, a guy you thought was the one, a job you were so sure was meant for you, and you're just like, wow, thank God. It felt like you dodged a bullet. Because me, I have a lot to be thankful for. So many things I desperately wanted back then and didn't get it. And now I just look back and I'm just like, thank God that didn't happen. I'm so grateful for friendships I let go of. I'm so at peace that certain people are not in my life anymore. And honestly, I'm just so happy about that. So now, I'm not saying that rejection doesn't hurt. Rejection hurts, yes. Sometimes it can mess with someone's confidence. It can throw you off your timeline. It can shake your self-worth. And if care is not taken, you start feeling like you're behind. But I guess we just have to remember that rejection builds character. It teaches you to trust in timing. It helps you to let go of things that are not aligned with your purpose, even when they look good on the surface. So maybe next time when something doesn't work out, give yourself a moment to feel it. But after that, take a deep breath, pick yourself back up, and remind yourself that maybe this wasn't rejection. Maybe this was redirection. Because trust me, most of the times it really is. Okay? And so this next lesson is another hard pill I had to swallow, which is you don't lose friends, you just grow apart. There's this thing I've come to realize about friendships. Sometimes you don't lose friends, you just grow apart. So you remember that one friend you swore was your ride or die? Like your soulmate in human form. And now you guys barely talk. It's not beef, it's not hate, it's just life. And please, let me just be clear here. I'm not talking about toxic friends. If someone was toxic to you, maybe they disrespected you, or they drained you, or they made you feel small in any way, please don't even romanticize that. Trash that friendship in the bin and don't look back. Trust me, you did the right thing, period. So what I'm talking about are the good friendships, the real ones, the ones where you guys genuinely loved each other, the ones where nothing bad really happened. No betrayal, no fights. It was just life creating distance. Sometimes you grow, they grow, and sometimes you guys just grow in different directions. And one thing I've realized is that it is completely okay. When I was in secondary school, I had this bestie. We're so close, we're so inseparable. We had real plans. We're gonna go to the same uni, live in the same city, be each other's bridesmaids, all those childhood promises. Yeah, we made all of them. And now we just barely talk. It's not like we don't talk at all, but we barely talk. No fights, no drama. We just like that. We just grew apart. It's like, it's wild how life works, right? But one thing I've also realized is that friendship isn't always about how it started. It's about who grows with you, who sticks around, who aligns with the version of you that you're becoming. Sometimes your values shift, your environments change, people relocate, and life just happens. And before you know it, communication fades, and the everyday talks turns into occasional check-ins, and sometimes even silence. It doesn't mean the friendship failed. It just means it served its purpose for that season. So friendships aren't always forever. Some are for a season and some are for a lifetime, and both are valid, both are beautiful. Some friendships will grow with you and others will stay in the chapter they are meant to be in. You don't have to force it, you don't have to chase it, because trust me, if it is real and aligned with your current season, it will stay. And if not, it is okay to let go without bitterness. And let's just be honest, we grow so much that we don't even recognize our old selves. So why do we expect old friendships to always keep up with the new versions of us? Why? So yeah, don't beat yourself up when you outgrow people. You are allowed to evolve, and they are too. And if one day you all cross paths again, beautiful. And if not, still beautiful, right? And trust me, you didn't lose a friend. You just outgrew a version of the connection that no longer fits who you're becoming. It doesn't make you a bad person, and it also doesn't make them a bad friend. It just means life is doing what it always does. Shifting, changing, evolving, and you growing, glowing, and stepping into your next chapter. So don't be afraid to turn that page. And this next one still stings, but honestly, it's true. And which is, your 20s will humble you. And I'm not even saying that to scare you, because being in your 20s is no joke. No jokes. You know that feeling when you're fresh out of school, filled with so much dream, filled with so much energy and all of that. You're just like, oh, don't worry, I have everything figured out. When you have a lot of plans in your head, you're like, oh, when I'm done with school, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what I'm not gonna do. You're just like, I'm gonna graduate, get my dream job, fall in love, stack money, travel the world. When you have all of those fresh plans, you have so much plans, and all of a sudden it just feels like those plans that you've already made, are not really going as expected anymore. Because the truth about being in your 20s is that life doesn't always go as planned. You might apply for a lot of jobs and hear nothing back. You might even work jobs you never imagined you were gonna do just to survive. And you might question your career path, your talent, and even your purpose in life. And don't even get me started on love, because probably you thought love was going to be easy, like fairy tales, just romance and vibes, just good times. And then life shows you that love is work and healing and unlearning. And if you're not careful, you probably start thinking, maybe something is wrong with you. But trust me, it's not just you. It's just that season is teaching you. And if you're not careful, you start comparing yourself to other people that you feel like their life is going well. And you see that part of being in your 20s, that is the humbling part. Because in your 20s, you realize that life doesn't follow a perfect timeline. And you realize being an adult is more than just, paying bills and posting aesthetics. It's sacrifices. It's choosing peace over parties. It's budgeting even when you don't have to. It's losing friendships you thought were forever. It's doubting yourself and still showing up anyways. But here's the beautiful thing about being in your 20s. Yes, your 20s may humble you, but they also grow you. And it builds character, it teaches you patience, it forces you to rely on God, not just vibes. They make you more grateful. And eventually, you become a version of yourself that is more wiser, stronger, and way more grounded. We're all figuring it out, and it's okay to not have all the answers yet. One step, one lesson, one prayer point at a time. Because one day, every tear, every job rejection, every moment of confusion will eventually make sense. And let's end with this final lesson, because it ties everything together, and which is, sometimes you feel lost, and that is okay. Yes, sometimes you can feel lost, and that is completely okay. It doesn't mean you failed, it just means you're human. One day it feels like your life is coming together, and the next thing it just feels like, what am I doing in my life again? You question your career, am I really on the right path? But the truth is, feeling lost is not failure. It's not the end of the road, and it's honestly not something to be ashamed of. It's just life doing what it always does, scratching you, shaping you, and sometimes slowing you down so that you can recenter. Being lost doesn't mean that you're off track. It just means that you're in a transition. You are in a space between who you used to be and who you're becoming. And that space, it's scary, but I also believe it's necessary. It's where clarity is born. It's where strength is built. Don't let social media make you feel like you're behind. You're not late. You're not lost. You're just becoming. Okay? So guys, this brings me to the end of this video. I hope you really enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed creating it, and I hope that you learned one or two things from this video. Yeah, so please don't forget to like this video, share, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so that you always get notified when I make a new video. All right, guys, bye. I'll see you in my next video.